What if the moment that seemed like the end was actually the turning point for all of humanity? This is the story of the crucifixion of Jesus, a story of betrayal, suffering, sacrifice, and a love that refused to give up. It begins during a time of growing tension. Jesus had spent years teaching, healing, and helping people. Crowds followed him wherever he went. Lives were changed. Hope was restored. But not everyone was happy. Some religious leaders felt threatened. They didn't like his influence. They didn't like that people were listening to him instead of them. And slowly, quietly, they began to plan. They wanted him gone. One night, Jesus gathered with his closest followers, his disciples, for a final meal. It was a simple setting, but the atmosphere felt different, heavy, emotional. Jesus knew what was coming, even if the others didn't fully understand. As they sat together, he broke bread and shared it with them. "This is my body, given for you." Then he took a cup and said, "This is my blood, poured out for many." The disciples were confused, concerned. Something didn't feel right. Then Jesus said something even more shocking. "One of you will betray me." The room fell silent. Each one wondered, "Is it me?" But it was Judas, one of the 12, one of the closest. Later that night, Jesus went to a quiet place, a garden called Gethsemane. He needed to pray. He knew the pain that was coming, the suffering, the weight of it all. For a moment, he asked if there was another way, but then he chose to go through with it, not because he had to, but because he loved. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps broke the silence. Torches flickered in the dark. Soldiers arrived, and leading them was Judas. With a simple kiss, he identified Jesus. Betrayal in its quietest form. Jesus was arrested, taken away. His disciples scattered, afraid. He was brought before leaders, questioned, accused, falsely. Lies were spoken. Truth was ignored. They mocked him, insulted him. Still, he remained silent. Then he was taken to the Roman governor, Pilate. Pilate questioned him, trying to understand. "What crime has he committed?" he asked. But the crowd had already made their minds. "Crucify him!" Pilate hesitated. He saw no reason to condemn Jesus. But the pressure from the crowd grew louder, stronger, and finally, he gave in. Jesus was sentenced to death. The soldiers took him away. They placed a crown of thorns on his head, mocking him as a king. They beat him, struck him, spat on him, and yet he did not fight back. Then came the cross, a heavy wooden beam placed on his shoulders. He was forced to carry it through the streets. Step by step he walked, weak, wounded, exhausted. Some people cried as they watched. Others mocked. But he kept going. Until he reached the place called Golgotha, the place of the skull. There they nailed him to the cross, through his hands, through his feet. They lifted the cross and dropped it into place. The pain was unimaginable. And still he spoke, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Even in that moment of suffering, he chose forgiveness. 2 criminals were crucified beside him. One mocked him, but the other said, "Remember me." And Jesus responded with compassion, "Today you will be with me." Hours passed. The sky grew dark. The earth seemed to hold its breath. Jesus looked down and saw his mother. Even then, he cared for her. He spoke words of love and concern. Then, in his final moments, he cried out, "It is finished." And with that, he gave up his spirit. The earth shook. The ground trembled. The temple curtain tore in two. Something had changed. Something powerful had just happened. A Roman soldier watching it all said, "Surely this was the Son of God." Jesus' body was taken down from the cross, wrapped carefully, placed in a tomb. A large stone was rolled in front of it.
Yes,
Guards
no
were
intruders
posted.
will pass.
Everything was
The shadows
sealed.
are long tonight.
Everything
Stay sharp.
was
We are
silent.
the guardians.
For his followers, it felt like the end. Their teacher was gone. Their hope gone. Fear took over. But what they didn't realize was that this was not the end of the story. Because the cross was not just about death. It was about sacrifice, about love, about a choice to give everything for others. This story reminds us that even in the darkest moments, there can be purpose, that love is not always easy. Sometimes it costs everything, and yet it's still worth it. The crucifixion of Jesus is not just a story of pain. It's a story of redemption, of forgiveness, of a love so deep it chose the cross. So when you face challenges, when life feels heavy, when things don't make sense, remember this moment. Because sometimes the greatest victories come through the greatest sacrifices. If this story spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful and timeless stories here on Timeless Stories Hub. And tell us in the comments, what does the cross mean to you? Because sometimes the stories we hear are the answers we've been searching for.